Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I hope that you have started your day with nothing short of health, wealth, peace, love, and light. As we explore healing and conscious creation together in this space, I hope that you'll remember to be kind and patient, with yourself and your thoughts. And I do truly mean that. I repeat this affirmation to you guys of being kind and patient because we're in a world where we're constantly consuming things that, like, the messaging is not always the best for us. I don't know how much of everything you consume or how much of everything you watch and how much of your attention is so focused on the outside, because what ends up happening based on the things that we consume, based on the things that we take in, what ends up happening is we start to perceive the world in through the eyes of the things that we're consuming a lot. I used to know someone, they've since passed on, who used to watch a lot of news. So their perspective, just having a conversation with them, their perspective and their perception of the world is that it's grim, it's negative, it wasn't necessarily, it became a very unhealthy way of looking at the world. It was just so heavily weighted on him that it's just, yeah. So our consumption of what's happening outside, it could be, like I said, the music, the messaging that we're constantly receiving, this excess of the things that are just being thrown our way, sometimes can distract us from taking a step back and actually listening to what it is that we need. We need to slow down and maybe listen to what the self has to say, because when we consume all of these things, I don't know what it is that you listen to, and I'm not talking about a small consumption of something. I'm talking about continuously, just all of this messaging that we're constantly receiving. We tend to forget that it's not necessarily a reflection of us, and we become very hard on ourselves. I'll give you actually a personal example. I'll use myself as an example instead of the person that I knew. But I've always consumed things about being hyper successful, right? Being just the type of person that needs to work hard and always work on my craft, and I do have a personality that will hone in on something. If I find something interesting, I will go and I will dive deep into it, and it's this hyper fixation on things. And so there was a season where I would I wanted to be extra successful because I received a lot of messaging about the potential that I possessed. And when I had lost sight of what it is that I actually wanted, when I forgot what it is that I wanted, because I knew that I had this potential, so I had to do something that was almost part of the rat race route, so to speak. So I became almost so too consumed by success that I forgot what success looked like for me. And when I wasn't excelling the way I used to, when I stopped excelling, because I did go through a phase, there was a season where I was just not performing as I used to, then I wasn't as kind and patient with myself, and realizing that maybe this is not something that I actually want, being in the space, being in academia, the academic space. Maybe this is not necessarily something that I want, or maybe this is not the place that I'm supposed to be in. Maybe there's a shift that needs to happen in the course that I'm taking. Or maybe, like, I was very hard on myself. That's the point of what I'm trying to get to. That's the point that I'm trying to get to. And I'd forgotten to be kind. I stopped being kind to, I really did slow down on the kindness with myself. And I was just always very hard on myself because I needed to be successful. I needed to realize this potential that everyone kept saying, oh, Max, you have so much potential. But what is that? What does that even mean? Goodness gracious. Yes, potential, but where do I go with it? What am I supposed to do? Because clearly I'm not happy here and I'm struggling and I'm just not. It's like the previous episode, it was almost just so heavy for me that I was constantly stressed and anxious about things because potential. I'm supposed to be succeeding, but here I am not succeeding. And what does that turn into? It turns into me not being gentle and being easy with my, I wouldn't say easy. Maybe easy is not necessarily the right word, but just taking the time to say it's okay to have this season where you're not necessarily doing your best. And maybe it's time to take a step back and realize that it has affected how you are also looking at yourself, how you're also having like the conversations that you're having with yourself, because you're being too hard on yourself. And when you're too hard on yourself, you're not always kind. You're not always kind. The messaging that you share with yourself. And also part of that was I had put on, first year 15. I think that's what it's called. First year 15. I had put on a lot of weight. Can I expose my weight? I don't know. But shame, the girly actually, I will. It doesn't really bother me because it doesn't bother me. But within the first 6 months of university, I put on like a good 6 kilograms. So can you imagine that? It was just too much that was happening that I just stopped being kind to myself. 100% kind to myself. Anyway, the point is, be kind with yourself and be patient with yourself, because by taking the time to be kind with you first, by taking the time to be kind and patient, and I mean that wholeheartedly, because I've seen it in myself where I didn't take the time to actually look at me and say, Obax, I appreciate you. I'd forgotten how to be tender and gentle with me. And and it almost led me to losing sight of what it, just very anxious, just depressed. I can't say depressed. That's, I don't know. I've never really liked to acknowledge that, because I just think it was, I tried to look at it as a season of molding. And yeah, so I would say I was truly not the best with the messaging that I was speaking to myself with in the mirror. I wasn't my friend first in the mirror until I shifted my mindset, until I realized that I was not being my friend in the mirror, and I changed that when I saw that problem. Anyway, point is, when I saw that problem, I changed the messaging. But this is not what I wanted to speak about today. How long has this space been? 10 minutes. Okay, I might as well have this as the episode, just to say, be kind and patient with yourself, because you are your first friend. You are the first person that looks at you in the mirror. You are the first person that's gonna change you if you ever decide you want to change. You are the one that has to show up for you in a lot of ways, in terms of like the work that you put in terms of, you know, your output in the world, your, you know, like the greatness that you want to share in the world. It starts with you, right? And so by taking the time to see that in yourself first, by taking the time to actually say, I'm the first person that I need to give love to in order for the love that I give out to be authentic and genuine. I mean, okay, maybe not necessarily, like, because sometimes we do give genuine, okay, I can say this for myself, I do give genuine love. I love wholeheartedly, and I always have, and I grew up with that. It's just sometimes we do so much for others that we forget to realize that we also need to do it for ourselves. We also need to be that self-lover, you know, in order to give an even deeper love. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'm not digressing. This is the episode, Bucks. We didn't really get into it. Anyway, thank you for listening all the way to the end. Hopefully in the next episode, I actually do share what I wanted to talk about, which is want is a state of not having. So I'm preparing myself to like get into that episode. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening all the way to the end. My name is Oba King, and I am your accidental therapist. Yeah!